the 5-year plan, you saw that. When you were talking to me about it, you saw the building. Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, it's that simple. I now know it's called.
What is up, everybody? Joe Everest, the fence expert, here with Dan from Riverside Fence and the Fence Industry Podcast. We just wrapped up the interview, and I'm telling you what, you guys are in for a treat. You know, we talked about Dan's story first and foremost. Within that story, we kind of talked about visualization, which I'm a big fan of, and we kind of go in depth on that a little bit. We also talk about work-life balance and kind of what that looks like and how that changes from time to time. Without further ado, Dan's fence story. All right, everybody. Today with us, we've got Dan with River City Fence, as well as the Fence Industry Podcast. Now, I've already had the honor of being on Dan's podcast, so it made sense to have Dan on our fence story. So without further ado, Dan, would you mind sharing with us your fence story?
Absolutely. I think I'm very much a run-of-the-mill fence story. I'm working on second generation. Dad's still in the business. Dad turned 65 on Sunday. Still very much involved. Can't get him out. And you know, we're just making that transition. We're in that phase. We're starting to like knock on that door. Sure. is how I say it. But yeah, I've been in the business since as long as I can remember. Talking to Caleb Roth earlier, like with JD, he asked when I started. I'm like, man, I was 10 years old. I was 10 years old, like it was expected. I knew, you know, I'm not no small guy by any means. And when I was 10, I looked like I was 15. But, you know, that's what I started. And I wanted to be out there, and, you know, I never looked back since. A short transition period there, just like I would say most fence company, dad as being the owner, son being in the business, he squeezed me out for like 6 years. Okay. And I had to go and get another job because, you know, that's when I, you know, was in my very early 20s when I got through college. And but I came back. It's in your blood. Yeah. You can't leave it. I learned a lot from when I was not in the fence company, and I would never take that back. And I worked retail, like home improvement retail for a short period of time when I was in college. Okay. And so still working for the fence business in the summer and stuff like that. And I wouldn't take that back because I brought that back in. And man, looking back, wow, like what a journey. And now we're doing podcasts, and I wasn't even on social media going on 3-4 years ago. And now, you know, I'm with Joe Everest, and we're doing, you know, this is, you know, looking back in such a short time, man, what a change. And our industry is just changing. Like,
I think that's a fair point, that I see things changing quicker and quicker, right? And so that's why, you know, so one of the questions I like to ask is, you know, where you see yourself in 5 years. And that's always kind of a crazy question because it seems it's kind of like technology where the iterations come faster and faster.
Yes, yeah.
The changes come faster and faster. But I think it's still a fair question, though. So, Dan, where do you see yourself in River City Fence and Fence Industry Podcast in 5 years from now?
So Joe, I have to go like every branch of my life because your life is revolved around the business.
I agree.
You know, that's just how it is as a business owner. It's a baby. It's part of your family. You know, it's like weird. I don't know if you guys, your family did, but like we talk about River City Fence, the shop, the business, as like another person. Growing up, that's how it was, like the shop or the business, you know, shorthand, whatever it may be. But, you know, in 5 years, I see the business, we're bringing on great people. I know I want to take over 2 markets. One market is lower end, one market is higher end, still have mine. I want to be breaking ground on a new shop.
Nice.
So I have the lot picked out. My city is trying to develop some farmland, and businesses are booming there. They're kind of coming to trailer stores there. I see my shop. I see our colors are red. Okay. Everything's red. I call it River City Red. It's not General Motors red. It's River City Red, and everything's red. I see the huge red building. I'm tapping into pergolas this year, back into it because it's, you know, great money for us. I have the guys for it. I see a couple more crews. I see our trucks going to the cab over NPRs.
Yep.
I see that. I see my dad still doing sales. My mom is the secretary. I see her kind of maybe part-time, just overlooking things, making sure things are running right. Got to find another secretary to replace her. Yeah. And that's not easy. It's not like what it used to be. It's not cheap because they're handling a lot of money. They're handling a lot of responsibility.
Responsibility in general.
So that's nothing I take lightly.
Sure.
I'll be completely honest, Joe. That's something we take very seriously in our business because before my mom, we had a secretary for like 30 years.
Oh, wow.
So
wow.
We went from the 30 years she retired to my mom stepped in because it would just fit right.
Yeah.
I was out of school and stuff like that.
Sure.
So that's the business. A couple more crews. I have great people. We are implementing standard operating procedures and just the way our business runs, and it feels super smooth right now. Got a long ways to go, but leaps and bounds ahead. I see my personal life. Sandy is my fiance. We'll be married. I still want to be in that same city because I want to say I'm from Fulton, Illinois, the same city the business is in. I think that's, I just want to be able to say that.
Yeah.
I live in Fulton now. It's not a big city.
Sure.
I'd love to live across the river where there's all the stores. I could shave a little bit of time off, but it's no big deal. Sandy and I are going to start a family, and that's very much part of the business, It'll affect it. I want to do things a little different. My dad let the business run our family, but we had to because he was a one-man show basically. I want to dedicate more time for family. I want the business to run itself, like every business owner.
Yep.
And with that being said, that ties right in with the podcast. Free some time up. I'd love to travel a couple Thursday, Fridays out of the summer, maybe one a month to other fence companies like yourself. Yeah. Whether it's Caleb Roth, the same seal, see how his operation works. Northwest Fence out of Washington State, I met them today, 55 employees.
Wow.
So I'd love to see that.
Absolutely.
I'm very curious with that. I hear big things with the Rio Grande Fence.
Yeah.
I want to see them. I want to go and travel and see. I got some guys down in Florida, Mo with My Fence Co. down there, a new startup, and I love talking to him because I love those new guys. Like, man, come to me with anything because I want you to succeed. Yes. Because I've seen it all. We've seen it all. We've done it all. So it all ties together, but I think that's where I'm at in 5 years. So, and that's going to come quick.
Nice.
So
I'll make one note here that was an incredibly detailed plan, right? And I kind of figured that's where it was going. So I listened to your podcast, and one of the ones I found really interesting recently was you guys got into the conversation on visualization. That the way you visualize things, I find incredibly interesting. So you visualize things down to the minute detail.
I do.
Right? And can we talk about that for a minute?
Absolutely.
Just because this is something, after listening to your podcast, I've done research, I've done things, I am very interested in this. So let's start here. So instead of me explaining how you visualize, why don't you go into a little bit about the 5-year plan? You saw that. When you were talking to me about it, you saw the building. Can you walk me through that?
Yeah, it's that simple. I now know it's called manifestation. I did not know that a month ago. I'm a big fan of Andy Frisella. Some are, some aren't. But he briefly mentioned manifestation in like December-ish. And I'm like, man, that's how I think. And it dawned on me. And listening to, I love the green industry because those are my guys. That's how I stumbled upon podcasts. And Nick Carlson from Mulchmate, which is, he dropped it's like a $10 million a year business, and just I wanted to make tools for the mulch world, and now he's blown up. But I heard him on a podcast with the Green Grind, another landscape podcast, and he's like, I can visualize my plane. I can visualize the chrome on the handle, the screw heads, and I'm like, oh my God. And I was digging a hole. I can tell you, it was on the north end of Clinton. It's only about 3 blocks from my parents' house. The last name was Detterman, was the job. It was a 4-foot black vinyl. It was off on like a retaining wall. I couldn't get my machine behind this really big bush, and I was digging it by hand, and it was poking me in the back. When I was listening to that with my iTunes, I can tell you that. The little old guy was next door, watched me. He came over shortly after, and we were just talking fence. He had some old fence he wanted me to haul off. I hauled it off for him. And I can picture that. I know the weather, it was really hot, it was humid, it was summer, we hand mixed that job. It was a rough job, but I went and did another one after. I can picture that.
Wow.
And when he said that, it just dawned on me, like, I'm not the only one like that. Then I heard the Andy Frisella episode. Long story short, Joe, this is crazy to me. I went to Baltimore, Maryland, to Nick's facility for a podcast summit. And we started talking, and I'm like, man, I remember your story, and I finished it for him. And I brought up the Andy Frisella thing. He's like, yeah, I'm part of his like specialized group. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, so it just kind of went full circle. And if you see me there, Joe, I was sweating. And I'm like, I was just taking it in. I'm like, he said that. I'm like, it just dawned on me. Yep. So I just, and I knew at that time, Sandy I want her to get into an SUV. She wants a Suburban. I want her to get a Tahoe, whatever it may be. I know in April, I'm going to my guy, Bill Bart. I'm going in there, I think it's April 4th, and I'm going to buy her a new one. I know how much I'm going to put down. I'm going to pay it off in a year. It's happening. Like, I just know it's going to happen. Nothing will stop me. Yeah. Nothing will stop me, Joe.
I think an important thing to take away is how important it is to visualize where you see yourself in the end. Because we talk a lot about having roadmaps. Like, you have to know where you're going, but you also have to know where the destination is, right? So if you tell me, hey, I need you to get to X, Y, Z, like, well, where is it? What does it look like? Where am I going? Like, what direction am I heading? We'll figure it out. Okay, I'll pick a direction at random, and I won't know when I get there, right?
Right.
You have it so minutely detailed that you know exactly when you've obtained that, right? And I think that's an important takeaway. I wanted to bring that up because ever since I heard you guys talk on the podcast about this visualization, I thought, that's exactly right. And a team member and I were having a conversation a little bit ago just about, it's kind of on the same vein, but visualizing how your day is going to go in the morning, right? It's going to be a good day. I'm going to meet 3 or 4 really great people. We're going to accomplish a lot and this and that. And then when you start seeing things happen, you're like, I knew it. This great thing's happening, that great thing. It's a great day. I knew it.
Yes.
Conversely, if you wake up in the morning and you say, it's probably going to be an awful day. There's going to be grumpy people at work. It's going to be just an awful day. I know these things are going to go wrong. You start looking for them. Right? And so then the first grumpy person you meet, knew it.
Yep, triggers it.
Knew it. And then you're like, and guess what? Now something's going to go wrong. And the one thing that goes wrong, knew it. Rotten day.
Yep.
And those two are the same day. Right, so the guy that visualized the day's going to be great, I'm going to meet great people, he scoots right past that grumpy person because he's looking for the happy people he's getting ready to meet. The one minute thing that went wrong, he breezed past it because he's looking for the good things that are getting ready to happen that he knows are there. He slides past the thing. Same exact day, yes. 2 different outcomes. At the end of the day, one guy's had an amazing day. It went exactly how he visualized it. The other guy, rotten day, and it went exactly how he visualized it.
Exactly.
It's huge. It is absolutely mind-blowing. And so we had that conversation, and then like 2 or 3 days later, I'm listening to your podcast, visualization comes up. This is so right.
Yeah.
And it really does change how you visualize your day. It changes how your days go.
That's it's funny you say that. Like, I install 6 days a week. I'm out there. I'm driving the truck to the job, and if it's a dig and set, I'm catching like a vision that my dad kind of drew for me in the head. We speak the same language. It's like that one job up there, and it's over here, and there's a thing over here, and I just know what he's saying.
Right.
So when I walk in, I just know I want to walk to that job. But say it's already dug and set, and it's a wood job and we're going to finish. I already know where I'm starting. I know how it's going to go. I know where we're going to use the machine to lay out pickets because I can. And maybe one area it's sketchy, it's a slope or whatever, and we're going to carry them. So I know I'm going to start here just so we're not working over top of each other. We're spaced perfectly as we run 2x4s, as we run pickets. Everything has a sequence to it. I believe you have to work like that. And if you do, you just can't. We've had them foremen in the past that just show up to a job, bad attitude, and weren't thinking that, even though they dug and said it.
Sure.
And it always goes bad. It's the same thing. You gotta put yourself in the right mindset. That's why I'm a 4:30 a.m. wake up guy. I don't get to the shop till 5:45, but I got to be in that mindset.
Sure.
I'm one of those people. I have to be in a mindset.
And you allow yourself to get into that mindset.
Yes.
So you give yourself enough time to get into that mindset.
Yes. If something goes wrong, I have time to take care of it, so it doesn't ruin my day.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I like that a lot. Let me ask you, Dan. So one question I've been asking a lot is, how much of your success do you attribute to luck, and how much do you attribute to hard work and dedication?
Man, everyone has an opinion on that. I think the hard work is where it's at. You know, I'm not a risk taker. My dad's the risk taker in the business. I'm not. I am not that guy. The podcast is the riskiest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money every week. It was a ton of money up front, and it's so much effort with, I get the message once a day. Man, thank you so much, the email, whatever.
Sure.
Thank you. Okay, but that doesn't pay the bills. But that's one little bit of motivation, like, okay, I'm gonna do another one.
Yeah.
I'm doing another one. And then I got to like Baltimore a month ago, and then I got to here. And here was like, I gotta do, something has to happen. And it's just a grind.
Yeah.
And you have to, what is that saying, Joe? I just forgot it, like trust the process.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? Like,
yeah.
And I referenced my green industry guys, Paul Jameson. He's like, dude, trust the process.
Yep.
Get to 100 episodes and then reevaluate. And I'm in my 30s as far as episode, and leaving Fence Tech, I needed this, and this now with sponsorships and just boost and listening, downloads.
Yeah.
That's what I needed, and I'm so glad I got to this point. I think it's the grind. I don't know how much luck there was involved. I'm sure there was. You know, I'm a quiet guy. You see me out here, it's hard to get words out of me. And my parents are the opposite. Like, we go to the family diner too. We're the breakfast family. Everybody does we drive separate because they're talking. I'm leaving. I'm going to work. And then my dad heard me on the podcast. He's like, "What in the world? Like, it sounds like you're talking to an audience of 1,000." And then I'm like, but yes, I think it's the grind. I think it's the grind. I do.
You know, so we had talked to Matt a little bit ago, and it's funny because you start hearing some commonalities here, right? That, and the saying goes something like, typically luck sits at the intersection of hard work and perseverance.
I like that.
Right? You've got to grind to get to the point where you can take advantage of luck.
Right, exactly.
You know, I mean, you could say luck was someone walking by today or yesterday and you got a chance to have a conversation with them. You could call that luck. However, your grind and perseverance got you to be the guy at the table ready to take advantage of that opportunity.
Exactly.
I think that's a conversation worth having. The reason I keep asking is because I think it's so important that, you know, we can hear the statement sometimes that, well, you're so lucky. You're like, man, I wish I was lucky like you.
Yep.
You know, and it's that laugh.
Yep.
Right? It's that exact feeling of, if you only knew.
Yes.
If you only knew what went into me being in this seat right now having a conversation with you. It's hard work. It's dedication. It's the grind.
Yes.
Right? So there's another saying, I wish I could remember it well, but my granddad used to reference it. You know, luck usually is dressed in overalls and looks like hard work or something to that effect.
Yeah.
And all these things are kind of trying to tell us the same thing, that you have to put your head down and lean into it and grind to be able to take advantage of the situation.
Absolutely. I could not agree more. I'm not a late night guy. This is my grind story. I'm not a late night guy. In the summer when we're working, so not a lot of people know, but I have a house that I completely renovated all on my own.
Oh, wow.
So I have the floodlights at night until 9 p.m. when it's not summer, when it's light. In the winter, I'd be doing that. And I've not only done that, and then I got to punch a podcast out.
Yeah.
And you got to have it on time. I have to be.
Right.
I have to have it to Mr. Producer, by Tuesday to respect his time and his job.
Sure.
And all the other podcasts. I don't want to step on his toes, and he does so much for me.
Yeah.
So much. And to do that, and your home life, it's I'm engaged now. It's just so much. There's times, I'm up until midnight punching out a podcast, and dude, I'm struggling the next day. But it's the grind. That's what people don't see. So
let's talk about a minute about that. So you've obviously have a lot going on, grinding quite a bit. How do you handle that time management?
Work. I know I start early in the morning. I get off at a rough time. I have to have my time carved out for Sandy, my fiance. I briefly know her schedule. She works out of town Saturday night. So this is one of the things. She does an overnight with the handicap like family that she has to be there overnight. Okay. So Saturday she leaves our house at 6:30 p.m., gets home Sunday 8:30 a.m. and I work every Saturday night. I know that's a work night. Sure. I'm working at my house. I'm not going shooting pool, watching football. I'd love to. Yeah. I know there'll be a time in my life for that. Sure. But I'm grinding. I'm doing that. That's my work time. And then in her days off, work time when I get off work and she's home, I have to dedicate that to her. And then my time for the house is typically like the times where I should be relaxing. I should be relaxing on a Sunday, but I'm working 12 hours in the house. Yeah. But I have a goal for that. I've hit it. I'm so close to hitting that, and things are paying off now, Joe. I can, how you can taste it, and you're like, just bump me ahead 3 months in life, and then I'm like, the pool will be done, the house will be done. The house is going to appraise for 3 times more than what I paid for it. We'll be super close to getting married. The venue and stuff is going to be set. I can just see that, and Joe, nothing's stopping me. It just, you know what it's like. You know what it's like to be a business owner and you have employees that need paid. Nothing's going to stop you to get them paid so they come back. Right. It's just not in your vocabulary. Sure. It's not in my vocabulary to fail, and I don't want to sound super hardcore here, but it's just not. It's I've just came to that realization in life.
Sure. And I think that kind of leads into the hard work, the grind, and the luck, right? Is that you having that mentality, that attitude is going to lead to you being lucky in the future, right? When you're in a good position with the house, when you're in a good position with your relationship, that sort of thing. And I think it's worth noting that, the work-life balance always seems to kind of be in flux too.
Right.
Absolutely. So it's never set. To your point, Saturday, that balance looks very different than Tuesday or something like that. I think too often we get stuck in the mentality of, it has to be Monday through Friday, 7:30 to 4, 9, whatever it is. This is my time, and then when I'm not on the clock, I'm with my family, and then that's just it. Well, as business owners, we know you never truly clock out. Right. So it's
100%.
So it's always kind of in flux.
Exactly.
Right? And sometimes, if one of my kids has something at school, sometimes I take her off early that day. And the understanding in the family is I'm probably going to have to work later the next day or go in earlier the next day or what have you. I think that's important to note. Just that for guys out there that are struggling with this relationship, with this work-life ratio balance or whatever, that it's always kind of constantly in flux.
I couldn't agree more because growing up, I knew my dad had to work, and in the winters he was always home. We could do on a vacation or whatever. I just recently told Sandy, this winter's crazy. The house is gutted. We got a lot going on. She's going seeing family here this weekend. Just got a lot going on. I told her next year it's Oklahoma City, Fed Tech. Yep. She's coming down. I think we're going to probably drive and make a long week of it. Oh, wow. And I told her every weekend plan something. We're flying somewhere every weekend. That's the payoff. Sure. We want to go to Mexico. Let's just go to Mexico for a week in February. We're not doing nothing as far as work. That's where I can take a breather, take a downer. Sure. And that's maybe that carrot for her to look, that light at the end of the tunnel. And can I do that in the spring, summer, and fall? Yes, but not often. And I'm just not at that point yet. And I'm selling her that dream. We'll get there. We're young enough. We don't have children yet, but when we do, I promise you, that's why now I'm doing what I'm doing.
Right.
Because the
To get you
future.
to that point.
Yes, my dad worked and still works 80 hours a week for me to have what I'm going to have.
Sure.
He's paid the price. I'm just, I'm going to reap the rewards soon. And I can see that. She can see that. My mom can see that. She's super happy. So life is good, Joe. Life is good. Yeah.
That's great. Dan, I appreciate you sharing your story and taking time
Yes.
to talk with me here on the show here. So for everybody out there, I'm Joe Everest here with Dan, and we're reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. We'll see you next time.